I never imagined my own home could feel like a prison. For years, I believed that marriage was meant to protect, not confine. That love was meant to nurture, not control. But one evening in our small house in Cedar Grove, Illinois, everything changed. My husband, Ryan, had locked me and our 7-year-old daughter, Emma, in the spare bedroom as punishment. The door slammed behind us with a final chilling click, and the key turned in the lock like a judge's gavel announcing a sentence I never signed. Emma pressed her small frame against mine, her tiny arms clutching my waist, eyes wide with fear and confusion. I felt a cold wave of realization. This was not a momentary outburst. This was a pattern of control and abuse that had grown over the years, subtle at first, then more insidious with time. Ryan's comments about my friends, my hours at work, my decisions, they were all threads in a web I hadn't recognized until now. I held Emma close, whispering words of comfort, knowing they were not enough unless I acted. That night, I resolved that silence was no longer an option. Emma trembled in my arms, whispering, "Mommy, will he be mad at us?" Her innocence cut through my panic. I kissed her head and promised safety, realizing that promises meant nothing if I didn't follow through. I began recalling every controlling act Ryan had imposed over the years, limiting my social interactions, monitoring my phone, making me question my parenting. The more I remembered, the clearer the danger became. I realized our situation required preparation, patience, and meticulous planning. Over the next few weeks, I began documenting every incident, taking photos of bruises and marks, recording his threats covertly, and saving emails and texts that proved his abusive control. I researched shelters, calling discreetly to inquire about options. A woman on the hotline listened patiently, providing advice on protective orders, custody procedures, and safe escape strategies. Her calm voice offered a lifeline in the storm of fear that had enveloped us. I developed a routine to collect evidence without alerting Ryan. Every text, every comment, every controlling action was recorded. I hid crucial documents in a safe place and made backups of photographs and recordings. Our escape could not be impulsive. Timing was critical. Leaving while he was awake or suspicious could be dangerous. I quietly packed small bags with Emma's favorite toys, clothes for both of us, and cash we had managed to save. Each item represented more than its physical value. It symbolized hope, freedom, and a future beyond fear. Each night, as Emma slept beside me, I whispered reassurances, acknowledging the weight of our situation while nurturing the courage we would need to act. Every detail mattered, for evidence would be our shield in a legal battle we had no choice but to face. The night we finally left, the air felt charged with anticipation. Darkness covered the house like a blanket, and Ryan's heavy breathing confirmed he was asleep. I carried Emma down the stairs, her small hand gripping mine tightly. Every creak of the floorboard sent waves of adrenaline through me. We slipped into my car quietly and drove to a shelter in a neighboring town, ensuring no one followed. The doors of the shelter opened to warmth, safety, and guidance. Counselors provided food, blankets, and a safe space without judgment. For the first time in years, Emma smiled freely. The relief of being out of his control was overwhelming, yet a new challenge loomed, rebuilding our lives in a world that had seemed foreign during years of suppression. Legal action became an immediate priority. I met with Rachel, a seasoned attorney specializing in domestic abuse, who explained protective orders, custody battles, and evidence gathering. I handed over photos, recordings, journals, and texts detailing every instance of manipulation, coercion, and abuse. The attorney's calm, precise instructions gave me a roadmap towards safety. Within days, we filed for a temporary restraining order. Ryan's calls, emails, and attempts at manipulation were meticulously documented. Every ignored call and unanswered message became proof of our resolve. We were no longer passive participants in his control. Silence became our shield. Each day, Emma and I remained safe, reinforced the decision to take action. Therapy became a cornerstone of our recovery. Emma, once withdrawn and fearful, slowly began to find her voice. She drew pictures of bright, sunny landscapes, houses filled with warmth, and families that laughed together. Each drawing was a small victory, a declaration that she could imagine happiness beyond fear. I, too, attended counseling sessions, unraveling layers of anxiety, grief, and suppressed anger accumulated over years of control. Every session revealed the subtle ways Ryan had undermined my confidence, isolating me from support and instilling a constant sense of self-doubt. Together, Emma and I learned coping strategies, mindfulness, grounding techniques, and breathing exercises that helped us manage panic and reclaim our emotional stability. Slowly, the fear that had dictated every choice began to loosen its grip. Our nights became less haunted by anxiety, our days more defined by intention and the freedom to act without apprehension. The bond between Emma and me strengthened through shared resilience, and we began to envision a future where our safety was not conditional on silence or submission. Securing financial independence was the next challenge. Ryan had controlled all finances, subtly undermining my autonomy. With the help of shelter staff, I updated my resume and submitted applications to offices, clinics, and small businesses in nearby towns. Initial rejections threatened to shake my resolve, but I reminded myself that every attempt brought us closer to stability. Finally, a pediatric clinic offered me a position at the front desk, recognizing my diligence and reliability. The job was more than a paycheck. It represented autonomy, a step toward a life where Emma and I could make choices free from coercion. Each paycheck reinforced my independence, and with it, our ability to maintain our safe space. Slowly, I rebuilt not only our financial security, but also my confidence, proving that Ryan's control could no longer define our lives. Court proceedings tested our resolve. Ryan tried to frame himself as a concerned father, claiming that my actions were exaggerated. Yet the evidence we had meticulously collected told a different story. Photos of bruises, voice recordings of threats, journal entries detailing years of manipulation, all formed an unassailable case. The judge granted me full custody, extended the restraining order, and suspended Ryan's visitation indefinitely. Sitting in the courtroom, I felt a mixture of relief and residual fear, but this time, I knew I had the strength to protect Emma. Her hand in mine was a reminder of why I had endured the planning, the anxiety, and the confrontation. The legal victory was not only a shield against Ryan's manipulation, but also a tangible affirmation of our autonomy and the life we were reclaiming. Our new apartment became a sanctuary. The rooms, though modest, were filled with sunlight and choice. Emma's room was painted in colors she chose, adorned with her artwork and stuffed animals carefully placed on shelves. Our routines, once dictated by fear and Ryan's arbitrary rules, became self-directed. Mornings were spent making breakfast together, evenings involved reading stories or drawing, and weekends became opportunities for quiet exploration of parks and community events. Each choice was a reclaiming of agency. Therapy sessions continued to reinforce our coping skills, turning triggers into manageable experiences rather than sources of terror. Slowly, normalcy took root, layering safety, structure, and joy over the years of chaos we had endured. Despite the sense of stability, echoes of the past lingered. Sudden noises or unexpected shadows sometimes triggered panic, a residual effect of the constant vigilance we had lived under. Emma occasionally asked questions about her father, and I answered with honesty tempered by age-appropriate care. We used these moments to teach resilience and boundaries, demonstrating that our experiences, while challenging, could be addressed safely. Our counselors reinforced that healing was ongoing, not a single event. Each step, sleeping through the night, walking down familiar streets unafraid, answering the phone calmly, became a celebration of progress. The rebuilding of our lives was a gradual layering of freedom, security, and emotional strength, each day contributing to the foundation of our new reality. Beyond safety, I knew we needed joy. Survival alone could not define our lives. We had to create moments of happiness and freedom. Weekends became excursions to local parks, libraries, and community events. Emma's laughter, once suppressed by fear, echoed through open spaces, filling me with a sense of profound relief. We baked together, experimenting with cupcakes and cookies, allowing the kitchen to become a space of creativity rather than anxiety. I reconnected with passions I had abandoned: painting, journaling, and volunteering at local shelters, activities that reminded me of who I was before Ryan's control. Each small act of self-expression strengthened my independence and reinforced the life we were building. Emma began to thrive at school, participating in class, joining clubs, and forming friendships that nurtured her confidence. Every new skill she learned, every friendship she built, was a victory over the isolation and fear of the past. Community became a lifeline. Through support groups, I met other women who had endured abuse, sharing strategies and stories of resilience. These connections were invaluable, providing advice, emotional reinforcement, and the realization that we were not alone. Speaking about our experiences empowered both Emma and me, transforming trauma into a tool for growth. I learned that survival was an active process, requiring careful planning, courage, and attention to our own mental health. Each legal, emotional, and financial hurdle we overcame became a brick in the foundation of our reconstructed life. I realized that by protecting Emma and asserting my independence, I was not only creating safety, but also modeling strength, resilience, and the possibility of a joyful future. Years passed, and life began to feel stable in a way I had never known. Our apartment, once a temporary shelter, became a permanent home filled with sunlight, laughter, and a sense of control over our surroundings. Emma thrived academically and socially, confident in her ability to navigate the world safely. Friends understood our history and celebrated our progress with us. I achieved financial stability, gained independence, and built routines that reflected choice rather than fear. Therapy and community support continued to help us manage the lingering effects of trauma, transforming anxiety into awareness and self-assuredness. Every routine, every decision, and every moment of laughter contributed to the reclamation of our lives. Despite progress, the past occasionally cast shadows. Sudden noises, glimpses of familiar streets, or reminders of Ryan could evoke fear. Emma sometimes asked questions about her father, seeking understanding rather than blame. I answered honestly, emphasizing that the abuse was never her fault and that I had fought to keep her safe. Together, we practiced mindfulness and grounding techniques, transforming triggers into opportunities for growth rather than fear. The journey of healing was ongoing, a layered process of reinforcement and self-awareness. Slowly, the threads of past terror loosened, allowing room for hope, freedom, and empowerment to flourish in our daily lives. Ultimately, liberation required more than escaping the immediate threat. It demanded reclaiming life entirely. We explored new hobbies, connected with community groups, and celebrated milestones once overshadowed by fear. Emma's smiles and laughter became a daily reminder of the resilience we had nurtured. Each outing, each new friendship, and each school achievement represented a step further from the darkness of abuse. I found fulfillment in small, ordinary moments that had previously seemed impossible. Preparing meals without fear, reading bedtime stories in peace, and taking evening walks together. With each choice, our sense of autonomy solidified, and the locked bedroom of our past faded further into memory. The legal aftermath was intense but necessary. Ryan tried repeatedly to regain control through court motions and false claims, but our meticulously collected evidence left no room for manipulation. Witness statements, photos, and recordings painted a clear picture of a dangerous environment that had threatened both Emma and me. Each hearing tested our resolve, yet I felt a growing sense of empowerment. Emma, aware of the court proceedings in age-appropriate ways, began to understand that we were asserting our right to safety and dignity. The court granted extended restraining orders, limited contact, and reaffirmed my full custody rights. Every legal victory fortified our sense of autonomy, creating a protective barrier between us and Ryan's past control. The courtroom battles, though stressful, underscored the importance of preparation, vigilance, and the unwavering determination to safeguard a child's well-being. Once the legal framework was in place, we focused on emotional healing. Emma continued therapy, her growth visible in both behavior and mood. She laughed more freely, participated in group activities, and expressed herself without fear. I practiced self-care, balancing work, personal interests, and maternal responsibilities. Painting, writing, and volunteering provided outlets for processing emotions and reaffirming my identity beyond motherhood. Each day became a testament to resilience. The small victories, like grocery shopping without fear or completing a task without anxiety, were monumental. We also reconnected with distant family members who offered support, creating a new circle of trust and affirmation. By surrounding ourselves with positive influences, we established an environment that nurtured growth rather than fear. Our social lives, once controlled and monitored, slowly expanded. I encouraged Emma to participate in school clubs and local activities, allowing her to form friendships that were healthy and supportive. Community events became opportunities to experience joy without restriction. I volunteered at local shelters, sharing our story where appropriate, to empower others while maintaining privacy. Each interaction, each shared experience reinforced that we were no longer passive victims, but active participants in life. Emma's curiosity and confidence blossomed as she realized she could navigate the world safely. I, too, found strength in independence, realizing that the identity I had allowed to erode under Ryan's control could be rebuilt, stronger and more self-assured. Months turned into years, and our routine solidified into stability. Mornings were calm and predictable. Evenings were filled with shared meals, stories, and creativity. Emma thrived in school, participating in clubs and excelling academically. I advanced at work, gaining recognition for dedication, efficiency, and resilience. Financial independence allowed us to plan for the future without fear of disruption. Slowly, the shadows of the past lost their grip. Memories of the locked bedroom and threats became distant echoes, reminders of lessons learned rather than ongoing trauma. The life we had fought to reclaim was tangible in our everyday experiences, from the laughter-filled dinners to the quiet moments of reflection. Travel became a symbol of freedom. Emma and I explored nearby cities, parks, and museums, each trip a declaration of autonomy. These excursions were filled with curiosity and wonder, experiences that Ryan had once restricted or mocked. Planning trips, choosing destinations, and navigating unfamiliar places together created confidence and joy. Emma's laughter became a daily affirmation of a life we had built, a life defined not by fear, but by choice. Each adventure reinforced our independence and strengthened our bond. I realized that freedom was not just the absence of abuse, but the presence of opportunity, security, and joy. These experiences created memories that would forever belong to us, untainted by control or intimidation. As Emma matured, she learned to recognize healthy boundaries and self-advocacy. We discussed relationships, consent, and emotional intelligence in age-appropriate ways. Therapy sessions focused on resilience, self-expression, and coping strategies for residual anxiety. Emma's confidence grew, and she began mentoring younger children at school, demonstrating empathy and courage. I too continued my personal development, attending workshops and joining support groups. Each step reinforced our autonomy, creating a life that balanced safety, emotional health, and personal growth. We had transformed trauma into a foundation for strength, establishing habits, routines, and social connections that supported a future of stability and happiness. The final pieces of rebuilding our lives involve solidifying our independence and reinforcing boundaries. Emma and I moved into a larger apartment, one that allowed us room to breathe and grow. I decorated each room with intention, filling spaces with artwork, books, and personal touches that reflected our personalities and triumphs. Emma's bedroom became a sanctuary of creativity, her drawings and crafts displayed proudly. We established routines that emphasized choice, freedom, and consistency. Morning walks, homework schedules, bedtime rituals, all under our control rather than dictated by fear. The act of claiming our space was symbolic. It represented the tangible manifestation of freedom we had fought for, the physical environment reflecting the emotional liberation we had achieved. Every wall, every corner, told a story of resilience and reclamation. Social and emotional growth flourished as we engaged with our community. Emma joined art classes, after-school clubs, and local sports, creating friendships that provided support, joy, and trust. I continued volunteering, guiding women and children navigating abusive situations, sharing insight from my journey while respecting privacy. Community became a source of strength rather than a source of pressure, offering validation and belonging. Each interaction reinforced our autonomy and self-worth. Emma's confidence blossomed, her laughter and curiosity illuminating our daily lives. I found myself participating fully in conversations, projects, and events without fear of judgment or interference. Life, once dictated by manipulation and control, became an active, intentional choice with opportunities for growth, joy, and meaningful connection. Years later, Emma and I reflect on our journey with perspective and gratitude. Our home is filled with sunlight, warmth, and security, a stark contrast and a locked bedroom that once defined our nights. Emma thrives academically, socially, and emotionally, understanding that she was never at fault for her father's cruelty. I maintain full control over our finances, decisions, and environment, allowing us to plan for the future without fear. Therapy, community support, and personal resilience have created stability that feels permanent and empowering. Every day, small victories, successful school projects, shared meals, laughter over simple jokes serve as reminders of the distance we've traveled. The journey from fear to freedom has been arduous, but the life we now lead is defined by choice, joy, and autonomy. The final lesson of our journey is the realization that true freedom encompasses emotional, physical, and mental autonomy. Emma and I have built a life where safety, joy, and opportunity are constants rather than exceptions. Our bond, forged through adversity, is stronger than ever, a testament to resilience, love, and determination. The past, while never forgotten, now serves as a foundation for strength rather than a source of fear. Each day is a celebration of independence, each decision a reaffirmation of agency. We live intentionally, knowing that liberation is not merely escaping abuse, but fully embracing life with courage and self-determination. Emma laughs freely, explores boldly, and dreams without limits, and I stand beside her as both protector and partner in this journey of liberation. Together, we have transformed trauma into empowerment, fear into security, and captivity into a life of choice, fulfillment, and unwavering hope.